Look, Donnie without a head and Donnie with a head. I've seen that. They sent it to me, and I was like, Donnie, your head's off of that. That's so weird. And then I took it out. I went, oh, wait a minute, there it is.
Big wheels keep on turning, carry me home just like you. Singing songs about
How did you feel when you first heard this live stuff? Had it been 10 years since you'd heard it?
Well, yeah, no, well, it had been quite a while, but about a year and a half ago, Donnie had mentioned to me about this recording, and we did it just primarily to hear the band, you know, and at that particular time. And then I went back and found the CD and listened to it and went, hey, it's pretty good, you know. So I called him up right away and said, hey, maybe we should go ahead on and put this out and see what we could do with it, see if we can get somebody interested in it. And for me personally, I think the fans will love it. We did very few dates, and we haven't toured together as a duo that much, and who knows if we will in the future, you know, we don't know. But I think it came out great.
So what will fans think when they listen to this? Is there a lot of in-between song talking? Is it...
There's some talking, yeah, there is some talking. Some of it we had to cut out.
You can tell us now.
You can tell us? No, there was just a few comments that we didn't want on the CD. But you know what? Primarily, this thing was recorded during our country stay, I guess you could say. And so a lot of the songs are off the albums that we did country-wise. And, of course, we threw in some Skynyrd, 38, and I had a lot of fun doing Wild-Eyed Southern Boys with Donnie. You know, Donnie's a hoot on stage. One thing that I do regret, folks, is that we didn't videotape it, you know. So, but somebody told me, a little birdie told me, maybe we should put out on the internet, was anybody there that night, you know. Maybe we'll come up with some content, so.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
So you said you guys didn't do an extensive tour. How many shows into the tour was this, do you think?
Probably about 30. So, you know, I mean, for us, that's not an extensive tour, you know. It's 100 shows or stuff, that would be a long tour. But we were actually out with Gretchen Wilson doing her heyday, so, and it was her actual first headlining tour. So this was in between. We were doing dates in between. And it's a great little venue down there. It's called Wild Adventures, and close to our home. So a lot of our family was there that night, too. So when you're hearing people in the background, you're probably hearing most of our family.
Oh my God. So initially, because this wasn't done to be an official live recording,
No,
is there
it wasn't.
less pressure, or do you, when you do set out to do a live album, isn't it like you record
I
four nights these days?
Yeah, I think that's the difference here. You know what I mean? I've done live albums with Skynyrd, and you bring in all the big production. This was recorded on a Pro Tools system that Larry Johnstrom, who is the bass player for 38 Special, had just got, and he said, hey, man, you guys want to hear what you sound like? You know, I'll come out and do this and everything. And we said, sure, bring it on, you know. So that was the cool thing about doing this tour with Donnie. There really wasn't any pressure. We didn't, you know, we just went out and played, you know, and again, we put out the first record, and we were like, okay, well, we did that. And then all of a sudden we had a hit with it, with the song Help Somebody. And, you know, one of the cool things that I have on my wall is a gold record. And it's platinum. I never have received a platinum, whoever the hell I can talk to for that one. But but a gold record for that first country album. And the only reason why we backed off on that, we've had a lot of people go, when are y'all going to do something else, you know? And he was busy with 38, and I was busy with Skynyrd. And, you know, man, you can't, that's a lot going on. You're never at home. And so we just kind of backed off. But we're always writing. We're neighbors. You know, and as kids, I was the youngest, and Donnie was always picking on me. So Ronnie picked on Donnie, Donnie picked on me. So, you know, as it goes. And but it wasn't bad, you know. So, but it's ironic that after Ronnie passed away, we really realized, we said, hey, you know, life's pretty short. Which one of us is next, you know? So me and him became more than brothers. We're best friends, you know. We live next door to each other, and we ride all the time and hang, and it's a good thing, man.
So there are a lot of amazing brother duos, I guess, in rock and roll. I
Uh-huh.
mean, from, the Kings to the Allmans
Yeah,
to the
sure.
Crows. Who are some of your other favorite brother bands?
Oh, brother bands? I don't know. You know what I mean? Anybody who's got talent enough to me. I never really, I'm a weird person about that. I can see good in anybody's music. I really can. And I have a 14-year-old daughter that turns me on, different music all the time. And over the years, I have 4 daughters. They've turned me on to music. Music's just part of life, and so I see good in everything, There's a country band out there right now, Brothers. God, I wish I could remember the name of them. Can't remember the name of them at all, but it's a really, really good band that is coming up. Brother Osborne, there you go. Somebody just told me over there.
Another little birdie.
Yeah, another little birdie, and but they're really good, and so I'm kind of into them right now. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you hear stories about, the Black Crowes, Chris and Rich
Yeah.
fighting, and the
Yeah.
dudes in Oasis fighting.
Yeah.
You and Donnie ever?
No, you know what, man? You know what? And those guys, once one of them's gone, is going to regret that. It's stupid, guys. It's very, very stupid. You can have your arguments, but blood's thicker than water. And I just actually seen the one brother there. He's playing with Bad Company right now. He's out with Paul Rogers. Rich. Yeah, they were out in where the heck were we at the other night? Skynyrd was doing a show in Minnesota, and they came out and seen us, and I'm a big Paul Rogers fan. I gurm him. I said, "You're the only guy I gurm." But they're good folks, so they were out at the show the other night. But any brothers out there, anybody fighting with your family, get over it. Life's too short.
What's Thanksgiving like at your house, or where do you have Thanksgiving?
Oh, yeah. Try to just have everybody over. The last big event, of course, was Easter this past year, and everybody was there. My sister was in a bad accident, lost her husband in January this year, so that was a special one for us, and she had to go through a lot of rehab, so she'd just gotten out of the hospital for that. And this album, actually, on the dedication, one of the people we dedicated it to was Bill Grant, and he was the first guy to give me a beer, first guy to take me to a rock show, first guy to put an 8-track tape player in my old Maverick whenever I was about 15. So he'd been around forever. He's part of our family. And unfortunately, he retired. He was a master chief in the Navy. And they retired in St. Augustine, Florida. And just one morning was going to get their oil change, and the truck driver decided that he'd rear end him in the rear, and he passed on. But she's doing good. But it was a great Easter, even though he was there in spirit. But it was a great Easter. All of us got together.
How many people are at that table?
Oh, God. There really ain't a table big enough to hold them. We kind of eat. It's kind of weird at my house. We've never really had. We did a year ago. We got like a little in our dining room. We never had a dining room table. We always let the kids play in there. So there was toys in there and stuff. But we just got a table for that. So a few people sat at that, and the rest of us just kind of mingle around and talk and eat wherever. It's pretty cash.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So you mentioned took you to your first rock show. What was that show?
It was 3 Dog Night. Yep, 3 Dog Night.
Shambhala.
Yeah. 3 Dog Night, and oh boy, my memory. It was a long time ago. I was drinking that beer with him.
So you were 8 or 9?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, just a couple more questions. So in honor of your great Red, White, and Blue live album, there's a lot of amazing live albums that Skynyrd did not do. There's, Frampton Comes Alive.
Yeah, sure.
Cricket Budokan.
Sure.
Live at the Fillmore Omens. Do you have any favorite live albums?
Yeah, sure. That Frampton album, it's ironic because this year we're doing shows with Skynyrd, with Frampton. And whenever he was in his heyday, he played down in, I've never brought this up to Peter, too. He played in Savannah, Georgia, and I was just made my first record. I don't even know what year it was, but I opened up for him. And so now he's playing before Skynyrd, and of course I'm in Skynyrd. And it's just kind of ironic the way things revolve. But Peter's such a great guy, and still really, really good live, too. So everybody needs to come out and check us out.
Excellent. You have 4 daughters.
Uh-huh.
What do you think is the thing you've learned most from having 4 girls?
Patience. Patience. I did learn that you'll never like their boyfriends. Okay. I'm looking over at one of my boyfriends. One of my daughters. one of my daughters, and she's got a boyfriend right now. I do like him, okay? I'll love him when he says, hey, will you marry me? So anyway, my story is that whenever you got young daughters, whatever, they start dating, as a father, you never like the guy. Because you know what the guy's there for, of course. So, you know. So, yeah, to meet me, yeah. But you grow to love their husbands. So I got 2 of them that are married, and they're good guys. And Chris has got a good guy. Taylor's too young yet. We're not going there.
So on a slightly more serious note, Skynyrd, of course, great song, Saturday Night Special, and there's been so much, renewed gun violence and hate crimes and stuff. Do people ever misconstrue that song? And do you want to talk about? Do you know if your brother wrote it about a specific incident?
Yeah, I just think about handguns. You know, us as Van Zants, we never really had handguns that much. You know, what do you do with a handgun? You rob a place, you kill somebody. And that's what that song's about. Handguns are made for killing. Now, shotguns, I got shotguns, but I'm a big Republican. I love guns, and I love the conservative ways, but I was a Democrat up until Ronald Reagan came into office, and that's whenever I changed my whole thing, about it. And I loved Ronald Reagan, but as a Republican, I do think that we need to reel it in on these automatic, weapons. I mean, that's crazy. Those should be in the hands of police and our military. And, there's no way that anybody should be in a bar and have some crazy nut come in and shoot them like that. It's unreasonable in my mind, And I think our country let us down. I think our FBI let us down on that guy. You know what I mean? Come on. The guy was, on a terror list, and they should have been following him till the day ends or whatever, He shouldn't have been able to go in and buy those weapons to take those folks' life.
And have any candidates over the years asked to use Skynyrd songs or use them without your permission?
That's a good question. I don't know. That. I can't answer that. I'm sure they probably have at campaign rallies or something, but never been officially asked.
Because I think Twisted Sister, we're not going to take it with you by Trump at one point. Yeah.
I was listening to which is ironic, Ted Cruz campaign rally on the news and heard Red, White, and Blue in the background. Sure did. So, but I mean, I figure what the hell, as long as he's saying he's American, I'm all for it. I believe in this country. I still believe in this country, and I hope whoever becomes our president will keep us safe, take care of our economy, and fix a lot of things. It's kind of weird. Just to go back for a little bit, we got a congressional record for doing things for the troops. We do it out of our heart. Well, they called us right at the beginning of the Obama term, and the first term, and said, hey, we want to give you this congressional record. Well, it's like, cool, you're going to mail it to us, right? No, they don't. They sent us to Washington to take pictures. And we're eating lunch at the Library of Congress, and we're, meeting with dignitaries, which is cool. That's a great honor. I'm not saying that's not an honor. But the whole time, me being a good American, I think that I am, and I want to be, I'm thinking, how much money does this cost the taxpayers? Maybe this is the reason why we're in debt, So whoever comes up with this new presidency needs to try to reel things back in. Now, no matter what we want to think about or talk about, America's a business. You need somebody who has business sense, So we'll see what happens.
Go Ask Alice, where I respond to your emails appropriately or inappropriately. This is from Emily A. Carbone?
which talent would you most like to have?
A magician. I did a play off Broadway where we learned some magic, and we had to do some magic on stage. And I had more fun with that than anything.